Hey everybody, welcome to our Unit 1 introduction here, and let's get right to it. Do you think you really know yourself or that of someone that's close to you, like a friend or family member? How well do you really know yourself and those loved ones around you? There's certainly the speculation of what we think we know, and that often collides with the truth of what we find out about ourselves and those around us that we think we know. Really getting to something I'd like to talk about in our first chapter lecture, and that's the hypothetical versus the reality. We have to have some sort of way to move us from what we think people should do, including ourselves, to what they actually do. And as you'll see in this first chapter, we often kind of get that wrong. We think we know what we're going to do and what others will do, but even sometimes when experts are asked, psychologists and psychiatrists, the smart people in the room, they often make these failed predictions. They just don't come true. And you're actually going to see that in our second chapter on doing research in psychology. We make all kinds of predictions, and they're very fancy and very scientific, but sometimes the data that we get suggests that we were really on the wrong track. We really got it wrong. Now, speaking about research, this is all about how we know what we know in social psychology. We ask some questions about people that we just don't know the answers to yet, and we try to set things up that we are able to collect information, call it evidence if you will, that will reveal what is really going on when it comes to these people that we're interested in. So some pretty important issues here we're going to be taking a look at in this first unit of our course. Now you may be asking yourself, what's the payoff to learn the material in this first unit here? Well, first of all, the content of Unit 1 has some extremely important nuggets, if you will, of information that act as what I always call table setting for the rest of our course. You're going to hear a lot about two important themes in this first chapter, the power of the situation, and secondly, the role of construal. And you're going to see that these unit issues are revisited quite often as we progress through the rest of our entire course. It's going to be part of every remaining chapter, and thus your investment in mastering or just learning about this particular unit material, or at least kind of keeping it on your radar, that's going to pay off for you handsomely as we go through the rest of the course. And you're going to just hear me revisiting these themes over and over again about the power of the situation and how it matters how we construe those situations. And secondly here, since our second chapter in this first unit is all about research in psychology, if you plan on a career in psychology, either, for example, as a therapist or an instructor, or maybe as a researcher or in some other capacity in our field, you need to know this information about different types of research. Their strengths and their weaknesses, just basic principles, some do's and don'ts of doing research. That's going to help you be a better equipped practitioner. And even if you don't plan on becoming a professional in psychology, it can certainly make you a better consumer of psychology research if you ever need to make decisions about the worthiness of study findings to apply to something in your own life, or maybe in whatever occupation you find yourself eventually in, whether it's a law enforcement officer, whether it's a nurse, whether it's even a parent. Sometimes what you learn in this course will definitely play a role. It'll help you out a little bit later on. Now, all of that may sound very lofty to you right now, and it definitely is. But by the time this course is over, if not by the time you finish this first unit, you're going to have a little bit more of an appreciation for the value of looking a bit closer at yourself and those around you and wondering how much you really know about such folks. And also learning about some skills that we have to have a more scientific approach to learning about human behavior. And so this unit's definitely going to get you to head in a certain direction of really perhaps reconsidering, how you know what you know. And so we'll just kind of leave that there, and let's get started with our first unit.